The Lakers' next chapter is taking shape. Tonight, TrendProof breaks down the confirmed roster changes around Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves. We will use official team material where it adds context and separate confirmed moves from offseason opinion.
Start with the confirmed moves. NBA.com's offseason record lists Austin Reaves as re-signing with the Lakers on a 4-year deal. It also lists new arrivals, including Quentin Grimes, Jaden Hardy, Walker Kessler, Kevon Looney, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Colin Sexton, Matisse Thybulle, and Zaire Williams. That is not a minor reshuffle. It is a substantial roster reset around two focal points already in place, Luka Doncic and Reaves. The same transaction record lists several departures, including DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, LeBron James, Luke Kennard, and Marcus Smart. The essential point is not to call the new group better before the season begins. No preseason roster move can guarantee fit, health, or a playoff outcome. What can be said is that the Lakers have changed the profile of the team. They have added a younger collection of guards, wings, and centers while returning Reaves on a long-term agreement. The central question is now clear. How does a reconstructed roster complement Doncic and Reaves? The Lakers have not announced a finished rotation, so any exact lineup prediction would be speculation. But the direction is visible in the additions. Ball handling support in Hardy, Grimes, and Sexton, wing depth in Thybulle and Williams, and a different set of options in the frontcourt. Hardy's official team interview provides a useful but limited data point. He described his excitement about reuniting with Doncic, his former teammate, and said he was eager to return to the gym with him. That is a player's perspective, not a promise of a starting role. Still, it illustrates a real relationship that the Lakers can draw on during a transition period. Reaves remaining in Los Angeles matters for another reason. It preserves a proven offensive connector alongside Doncic while the team works out who absorbs the minutes and responsibilities left by departing veterans. The question for training camp will be less about one headline name and more about which combinations can defend, rebound, and make quick decisions around the club's lead creators. The biggest roster shift is at center. The NBA's transaction record lists Walker Kessler as joining the Lakers in a sign-and-trade, with Kevon Looney also arriving as a 1-year addition. Kessler's official Lakers feature is not a scouting report, but it offers direct context on how he talks about his game. In the team video, he discusses the value he places on a game-winning block and the defensive side of the floor. That matters because Lakers leadership had emphasized depth, athleticism, and youth as off-season priorities. A center rotation that includes Kessler and Looney gives the coaching staff different looks, one more associated with rim protection and a younger timeline, the other with experience and physical screening. The actual pecking order and whether those pieces solve the Lakers' defensive questions can only be answered once the games begin. A careful assessment has to leave room for uncertainty. New bigs need time to learn coverages. Guards and wings need to build trust around screens, switches, and help defense. The frontcourt change may be central to the season, but it is not a finished product on paper. The backcourt picture is deeper too. Grimes, Hardy, and Sexton all appear on the NBA's additions list, while Reaves remains a central returning player. That creates options, but it also creates decisions. A team can add talent and still need months to determine which lineups hold up defensively, which pairings create spacing, and which players close games. This is where a new roster has to avoid easy labels. A player described as a scorer may need to defend a bigger wing. A defensive specialist may need to make the right extra pass. A reserve may have to start because of injuries. Lakers leadership said after last season that depth beyond an 8 or 9-man rotation mattered because injuries change plans. The early story, then, is not simply who joined. It is whether the Lakers can turn a long list of names into dependable role clarity. The answer will come through training camp, preseason, and the early schedule, not through one August headline. This summer's moves echo a message from the spring. In the Lakers' official 2025-26 season wrap-up, Rob Pelinka said the club needed to add depth, athleticism, and youth. Coach J.J. Redick similarly framed the challenge as building enough reliable depth to withstand the reality of injuries and changing rotations. That press conference predates the latest transactions, so it should not be treated as a direct explanation for every subsequent move, but it is useful context. The current additions fit the broad priorities leadership described: more options across the roster, more competition for minutes, and a greater need for the coaching staff to shape a functioning identity around the players who remain. The fair question for fans is whether this particular mix answers the right problems. The evidence is not in yet. What is confirmed is the strategy leaders described, the moves the NBA has recorded, and the schedule that will test the rebuilt group. The calendar now provides the first real tests. The Lakers' official schedule release says the club opens its 79th season on October 21 at home against Golden State. It also says Los Angeles hosts Philadelphia on Christmas Day, plays 80 currently scheduled regular season games, with 2 December dates still tied to NBA Cup results, and appears nationally 34 times. The NBA Cup group schedule is also set. The Lakers are in West Group C with San Antonio, Portland, Golden State, and Sacramento. The club's longest road trip runs 12 days from January 28 through February 8, including visits to the defending champion New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Those dates are not predictions. They are the fixed points against which the new roster will be judged. Opening night brings immediate attention. The Christmas game brings a high-profile stage. The extended road trip tests resilience. And the nationally televised slate ensures that the Lakers' new identity will be examined in real time. The most responsible read is measured. The Lakers have confirmed their schedule. The NBA has recorded major additions, departures, and Reaves' new deal. Official player material shows Hardy discussing a reunion with Doncic, while team features show Kessler presenting the competitive defensive identity he hopes to bring. What is not known is equally important. There is no confirmed final rotation. There is no official projection for wins. There is no guarantee that a new group will reach its ceiling immediately. Those questions belong to the season itself. For now, the Lakers are moving into a new phase, with Doncic and Reaves at the center of the conversation, a reworked supporting cast around them, and a schedule that begins with a nationally visible test. The real evaluation starts once this roster shares a floor. The story from here is about evidence: training camp lineups, preseason decision-making, defensive communication, rebounding, and how the new players respond when the games matter. Until then, confirmed moves deserve more weight than rumors, and the early season will provide the first meaningful answers. There is another reason to focus on structure instead of headlines. The Lakers are entering a season in which the public conversation will move quickly from transaction news to nightly results. The opening game against Golden State will bring immediate attention. The NBA Cup group games will create early competitive stakes. The Christmas Day meeting with Philadelphia will put the new roster on one of basketball's largest regular season stages. But a team's first weeks can be misleading. A short winning streak does not settle the question of defensive consistency. A difficult road trip does not settle the question of chemistry. The meaningful evidence comes from patterns: how frequently the team protects the rim, whether the guard combinations limit turnovers, how the wings handle physical matchups, and whether second-unit players can sustain the level of play when starters sit. The 12-day trip that begins late in January may be one of the more useful measuring sticks on the schedule. It includes road games against New York and Boston, according to the Lakers' official release. By that point, the league should have a clearer picture of which roles are fixed and which are still evolving. For supporters, the best approach is to track what is confirmed. Watch the line. One final source check matters here. Official player interviews can show how new Lakers describe their opportunity. Team press conferences can show the priorities leadership articulated at a particular moment. The league transaction record can establish which moves have been completed, and the official schedule can establish when the new group will be tested. Those sources answer different questions. They do not answer everything. A player interview does not establish a lineup. A press conference does not guarantee a result. A schedule release does not predict a season. That distinction is why the most useful Lakers coverage stays close to the record while leaving room for the basketball itself to supply the next answers. The next chapter of this story will be written in practices, preseason games, and the first weeks of the regular season. As that evidence arrives, TrendProof will separate the confirmed developments from the speculation around them. The central takeaway is simple. The Lakers have not merely added names. They have begun testing a new roster structure around Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves. The value of that structure will depend on fit, health, defensive execution, and the willingness of every player to fill a defined role. Those are questions for the season, not for a transaction tracker.
For Lakers fans, the waiting part is nearly over. The roster has changed, the schedule is on the board, and the next answers will come from the court.